But now I'm gonna get my alfalfa field cut so that that can dry out in the sun. Actually, I have not looked to see if the forecast has changed. It's supposed to get cloudy this evening, but lots of sun until then, so we should be good. So I'm gonna get my alfalfa field cut so I can dry in the sun, and then I can cut it into alfalfa hay later. Now I was hoping that alfalfa took the nitrogen out of the soil a bit. Not appear to be so. But let me get this cut. And then one of my trips down to sell corn stalks, I can stop at the store and buy a tedder. I have to make another trip to pick it up, but I can buy it. Not turn quick enough for that. Just a little bit more to go, and then I can get back to picking up corn stalks. Okay, there we go. The alfalfa field is all cut, and now it can sit in the sun to turn into hay. Well, I'm on my way to deliver this load to Rudy's, which is right next to this store. Rudy's does have pretty much the same price as Pedersen's, and they're probably about the same distance, but there's one more light on the way to Rudy's. There's a third place you can sell too, but I believe that's over on the other side of the river, so it would be much further to drive to. And seeing how it takes so long to make each drive, even if they did have the higher price, I probably would still choose one of the closer ones. But let's deliver this to Rudy's. And then I can stop at the store. And look at the, well, definitely the Tedder, but I'll probably look at the couple of the other things that I want to get. Okay, it should be somewhere around here. There we go. And then I can go right next door. Now I'll just park over here. So I'm out of the way in case anybody else needs to pick something up. And no, the store icon does work in here, but I don't have icons up. I thought it was around here. Oh, there it is. Okay, I did look online to see if there's anything for sale. There's a merger, but that is not a Tedder, so I definitely need the Tedder. Definitely do not want the tiniest one. I mean, that's the same width as my rake. Yeah, I think I'll just go with that one. The width of it being the same as the rake isn't really that important. But yeah, I don't want to spend 42,000. So I'm just gonna go in that way. I can go with the Vicon. I'll just go with this. So there's 16,000. And I am going to want a cedar. I don't have to buy it now, but I'm gonna look at them. I really don't want a 3-meter one, but I think I have to go pretty expensive too. Like that's too, I would need a tractor more powerful than mine to even go with the 4-meter. These I could do, but I would definitely prefer, that's too much. I know that there's this one, but that's a lot more. I thought I got rid of that mod. I really thought I did, but I will. Like I liked it just to have a bigger seed thing without the fertilizer on the ones that come with fertilizer. That is 12 liters. That is humongous. It does not require that much power. Definitely be the one I would prefer, but I would have to almost certainly lease to own it. Whereas these, it's a difference in these. Not really, like they're the same. This one weighs more and is suggested to have wheel weights. There's not really much of a difference. This one can hold more seed. So there is that, or I can lease to own the solitaire. I was also going to look at how much that is, because if I got that, I can definitely get that. In fact, I can get that and one of the smaller cedars by the time I'm done with this, so I'll still be in the same spot. And then I can bale up the corn stalks and then use that instead of the forage wagon. But then the price of the forage wagon was pretty much wasted. But I was leasing to own it. So I think I'll get that and return the forage wagon. Now I won't get anything back because I did not buy it. So, like, well, how much would it be to purchase it? Yeah, I still owed 94,000 almost on it. But yeah, I'm gonna return that and go get the bale loader. And then I'll get to baling the rest of the corn stalks. It will save me a lot of time. And I will definitely make the money back on the bale loader. And that will mean I should be able to plow the field, so I'll make more off of the wheat that I'm probably putting in there. I'll have to look at the crop rotation stuff. I have my baler. I've reset the bale count and turned on automatic drop. First part will be super quick because it was what was left over from what I just picked up in the forage wagon. And then let me get lined up on this, which was actually super perfect timing. Really had to pay attention to that though. Definitely not the best at that. It's actually much easier if you go in because then I can actually hear the beeping usually. Of course, it doesn't help so much when it fills up that fast though, because you don't hear the beeping until it's ready to drop the bale anyway. So it doesn't matter if I'm in or out. I think if I go straight, then I would definitely fill a bale right in the middle of that, which would make it awkward to come this way later. Well, I finished a lot of the field, that whole section in the arm I started on. I'm gonna follow this row up to my farmyard, and then I will have to go get my tedder and get my alfalfa field turned into hay. And now I'm just gonna park this over next to the loader and go grab my Kubota to run down to the store and pick up my tedder. And I will see you then. Well, I'm almost back to my farmyard. It looks a lot more like a farmyard now. And I have my new tedder, so I can go take care of my alfalfa field. Now, I did look at the weather and I don't see the rain that's coming tomorrow, so hopefully that will be later in the day. But there will be rain tomorrow, so I'm sure I'm going to have to work quite late tonight. I think I'll have to go past the edges again because some of it is grass. It probably wouldn't even matter. Let's make sure I get that edge. It's quite dark over in this side of the field. Oh, I know why it's not doing that, because I have it set as base game, and that only works on conditioned grass, so the grass isn't being turned into hay. And I don't know if I change this to hay, if that will work on the alfalfa. Yeah, that won't work on the alfalfa. I didn't think it would. So I can go through the edge again with that set as hay. That way, if there is enough grass, that the bale gets set as that, which it shouldn't, but if it does, then I won't have to worry about it because then it'll be hay, which would still work for the sheepies. Which I did check on the sheep this morning, and they were still doing all right with water and food. Okay, let me do that again with it set as hay. And then the rest of the field should be fine because the rest of the field shouldn't have grass in it. There's not really much I can do for that unless I was going to like paint a border around the field to not have any grass that gets cut with the alfalfa. I mean, I guess there's a few things you could do. I could leave a strip of alfalfa that I don't cut, making sure I don't get any grass. But I think I'd rather just go around with the cutter twice around the edge than do any of the shenanigans to not have this happen. And I could just leave the grass. It really shouldn't be a problem. There shouldn't be enough to ever have. Nope, I did want to basically to ever have enough grass being cut that the bale would be a grass bale instead of an alfalfa bale. And just this one pass, and then I can go get the windrower. Which I won't even have to move the baler to get, because, well, the baler's still hooked up to the John Deere. So it's definitely not parked in front of the windrower right now. Oh. Let's turn it back to hay and get this a little bit. Oh, that is alfalfa hay. Never mind. Alfalfa hay kind of looks similar to semi-dry grass, or yeah, semi-dry grass. So I guess I should have known because I did not make semi-dry grass. And I very highly doubt I'll have enough time to turn that into the few silage bales that it would turn into. But that's okay. Okay, let's reset that. That looks like tiny. I mean, it kind of looked like tiny before. But it looks like a lot less hay than it did when it looked like grass. But I guess we'll see how much it makes. There's always so much going on in October. But if you do the cutting in November, then you have to reset the growth stage to have it ready again. If you do May, August, and November, it won't be, it'll just be at the first stage of harvest the next May, unless you reset it in November. Like with a roller or whatnot. And I don't even know if that works on alfalfa. But it might be something worth looking into. Because there is usually a lot going on in October. Well, at least if you do corn. But let's see, let me look at the calendar because I think there's quite a few things that could be done in October. Oh yeah, sunflowers, soybeans, sugar beet, cotton, lots of things that could show up in October. And obviously the corn and the soybeans can go quite late, but then you can't get the wheat or barley in at the time when you can then get soybeans in after they're harvested, which is kind of what I wanted to do. So I don't know how awkward the soybean harvest will be next January, I think is when it will be ready if I plant it in July. Because, well, winter. But that's another thing I wanted to do. It definitely might make it awkward to try to do the soybean straw though, because it can't drop straw on the ground if there's something else there, like snow. But I'm a while away from actually seeing how that will work out. And that should be about where I already have that. And I am going to need to do one of these. That. Let's just do that. That should be fine. And I'm not going to have to do, I thought I was going to have to do a little bit extra. But it should be able to get it all. So there we go. The baler is already on the John Deere, so I'll get in that. I don't know how much corn stalks there are in there, but if it's close to a bale, I'll finish a bale and then come and bale up the alfalfa. It might be close enough that it would reset, but not sure it is. So let me just get a bale of this. I don't really want to reset the bale count because I do want to see that, so I'm gonna have to remember how many hay bales I get. But I'm at 243 bales right now. And it's obviously still on automatic drop. Let's see how much I can get out of this alfalfa field. I've been doing so much corn stalks, I don't know if this is seems like a normal amount or not. I think I got 12 silage bales in the July cutting. But pretty much everything will look tiny after seeing the corn stalks. Little baby sheepy. How big are the silage bales? Okay, they're called whole crops. They should have been alfalfa silage. I wonder if that's because of updates of both mods and the game since they were made. But they are 1,000 liters less than these. And I did get 10 bales off. Yeah, I was at 243 when I started. I'm pretty sure I'm done with the things. Let me just go around, make sure I've gotten everything. Yes. Now I might get an extra one when I go back to the corn stalks. Because that is 2/3 full of alfalfa hay. Do these bales say they're alfalfa hay? Bale alfalfa hay. But yeah, it definitely wasn't less than I got of the silage. I wonder if whole crop silage is something the sheeps can eat. Let me pull that up. I have to go into the folder because I don't have it open. Let's see, Maize Plus. I think it's this one. Sheep protein silage. Yes. Grass windrow, wetgrass windrow, clover fermented, alfalfa fermented, and silage. And silage should be whole crop silage because that's what it replaces. Like instead of everything being called silage, the, what was originally called silage, the whole crop is the base type. So they will work for the sheep. I won't have to like cheat to switch them out for a different type of bale. But I'm going to go back here and finish this bale because I think that this one will be alfalfa. Yep, alfalfa hay coming out. So I got 11 bales of alfalfa hay. And I am going to continue and do some more of this field. I don't know, let's see, let me look at the thing, the forecast again. I'm still not seeing the rain, so I will be able to make it to morning. But the more I can get into bales, the better, because bales are much more resistant to water than just the loose stuff. But I'm going to get some more of this done tonight. But that's all I am going to record. So I will see you in the morning.